our reflection today, we're going to join the blind man of Jericho, as Jesus is passing by, and somehow put ourselves in that scene, knowing that Jesus is with us today, but those sentiments of the scene can inspire us in our prayer. So I'd like to read for you now the extract from Mark, which is chapter 10, verse 46 to 52. And it describes that incident of Jesus meeting the blind man of Jericho. They came to Jericho. As Jesus was leaving with his disciples and a large crowd, a blind man named Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, was sitting and begging by the road. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth passing by, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many scolded him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted even more loudly, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man. "Take courage," they said. "Rise up, he's calling you." He threw off his cloak, jumped up, and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. "Teacher," the blind man answered, "I want to see again." "Go," Jesus told him, "your faith has made you well." At once he was able to see, and he followed Jesus along the road. So now we've got that poor man Bartimaeus. We know nothing about his past. He could have been married, he could have had children, but we do know that whether he were rich or poor, successful or not, he was physically blind. And all he could do now, because he had nothing else, was to sit by the gate of the city and just somehow be part of the crowd passing by. And he seemed to be lost in that darkness. And as he sits there, he could hear the noise and the hubbub. And he knows that something's happening, and he picks up from the crowd that Jesus of Nazareth is passing by. And that same Jesus risen is passing through us in our lives at the moment, living in our hearts, and he's passing by in this moment of prayer. A wonderful moment for each of us. So we're there with Bartimaeus, somehow like him, lost in the dark of the deep worries that appear, problems with families, and all those things that we know happen in life that somehow darken the horizon. It's metaphorical, of course, but that darkness is there, and the light of the world, Jesus himself, is passing by, and the light of the world is living with us. So we in our darkness just look at him and just say, "Lord, have mercy on me and help me and draw me closer to yourself." And so that crowd of people, that hubbub of people around Jesus, try to imagine that. The blind man like yourself is isolated. And the one Saviour is there, but no one can get near him because of the crowd. And there's dust, and it's hot, and it's humid, and it's just so difficult for that blind man. And he seems absolutely lost. As we do at times, we feel lost with all the activity that's going on. And we just wonder where Jesus is in all this. And here he is with us. And he knows what's happening. And so somehow in the depths of our hearts, like the blind man, the only prayer we can make, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, the Son of God, strengthen me. Jesus, Son of God, hear my prayer. Jesus, Son of God, Son of David, have pity on me. I'm lost. I'm in darkness. Guide me. Open my eyes to see what I'm to do." terrible thing for poor Bartimaeus was the crowd, who knew his plight, were quite unsympathetic. They were telling him, "Be quiet, you're disturbing the master, be quiet." And this poor man cries out all the louder, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." Just put yourself in the scene now. They're telling him to be quiet. He's calling out in extreme need, "Be quiet." So many things in our lives tell us to be quiet. Don't bring it up. Don't talk about it. Don't complain again. Suffer in silence. And that poor man is like us. And all the time, the light of the world is there, as he is in our hearts now. But Jesus, as he always does, notices the plight of the man and he says, "Bring him to me." And of course the crowd rush over and say, "He's calling for you, take courage," as if the man needed courage. He had enough courage to cry out from the depths of his degradation. He cried out. And we've got courage. It's a courageous thing to pray. It's a courageous thing to acknowledge that you're not self-sufficient. And so we cry out and we hear the news. And so we get up and we walk. What a wonderful thing to walk into the presence of Jesus, close to him, and to have his undivided attention, as you've got now. His undivided attention. He's within us, and he knows we're here to pray, and he's looking on us with love. What do you want me to do for you? Lord, that I may see. Lord, please be with me. Guide me in this problem. Help me in dealings with my family. Help me in dealing with my ill health. Help me in the normal things that are around me. That's what I want. I want that inner strength. I want to know that you're with me to sustain me. And Jesus, full of compassion, says, "Your faith has saved you now. Going away you can see." And just think of that scene when the man shouts with joy, I can see. And the crowds are taken aback and they all fall back. I can see. What a wonderful moment, an ecstatic moment. And we're there. And we rejoice with the blind man too. And we hope we can see more clearly where we're being called. And the blind man knows. He said, "I'll follow you." He forgets everything else. His whole being is fixed on Jesus. And we're the same. Our whole life is fixed on him. In many ways we are following him. And so he is with us to guide us, to sustain us, to give us hope, and to dispel the darkness that sometimes sweeps upon us. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. I am weak. I am in need. I am empty. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. So now we move from this time of prayer just by prayer, but we all know the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.